Joining me in the studio is a very, very big legal practitioner who is also the general overseer of Faith Pillars Gospel Center, and he is a social media influencer. A whole lot has been said about Patrick Awosagi, and good to have you join me.
Thank you for having me, and good morning, fellows out there.
You look great this morning.
Thank you. It's a good work of the Lord.
It doesn't seem the fuel subsidy removal has any toll on you.
Obviously, it doesn't have any toll on me because we shouldn't be looking in that direction.
All right.
We must have reasons to smile. I could see folks in Palestine still having time to sing, and despite the pain, you don't have to gloat around the pain. You must start thinking away from the pain.
Okay.
I think that's how.
Well. A lot comes to mind, yes, and a lot comes to fusion when we look at elections in Nigeria. It's always beautiful to see democracy, flourish. But right, I don't know your mindset or opinion about if democracy is really flourishing in Nigeria. But the basic issue here is election litigations. It's one thing for us to have elections. It's another for us to see, even though the people have decided their votes, or they've decided taking a decision on who they want to lead them in governance, somehow due to technicalities in adjudication of cases, it seems that the wish of the people has been turned the other way. Now let's look at what even the CJN said, Olukoyede Aruwola, when he also opined that Nigeria is one of the most litigious countries of the world. That's quite mind-blowing. And what are your thoughts along this? And this is an opportunity for the judiciary to reaffirm the independence of the judiciary, and also to reaffirm the slogan that they are the hope of the common man, the last hope. So share your thoughts on all of this, and if there is despondency or if there is hope for Nigerians.
Well, thank you. John C. Merson, a great writer and a motivational speaker, had written and said, leadership. He said everything rise and fall on the leader. But I believe that for so many years, and I have come to terms with some other opinion and position that it has nothing to do with what we call leader per se. Because when you occupy an office, that ordinarily does not translate you to becoming a leader. You may be a ruler, someone who becomes governor, but leadership in this context is different from what we have in Nigeria. I think that's the basic problem. We tend to look at political office holder as people that are coming to cause a change. They may be clueless. And you believe because he won election and because he sits as governor or as president or as senator or as whatever he is,
he has the magic wand.
He has, you understand, that's the problem. I think we should get it right by understanding that we need to know those that are leading the people. First and foremost, who? They come from the people. What are the values we have? Strong values, morals in society. It's whittled away. Fidel Castro said, to be moral in an immoral society is immoral. To do the right thing in a wrong-doing society becomes wrong. So even talk about crime in Nigeria has become a crime itself. To try to expose what is wrong, it looks like you're doing something bad. You say you're trying to bring down a big man. You're trying to stop someone who's done something, who has done so much for his people. That's the kind of thoughts we have. And they have followers among, you see, why it becomes so challenging. Those that turn out for them, jump around to support them, they are the ones that have was hit. They feel it the most, but they jump around. They have been brainwashed, if you permit me. They have been hypnotized, if you permit me, to believe that some leader is the one that will lead them there. Nobody's going to lead you anywhere. You decide your life all by yourself the way it is now. But ideally, in a working system and working society, we should have plans. We can't have plans of years to years, of 20 years, like you just laughed over the year 2020 talk, development goals, millennium. I had all of those things. Now, we have not even talked about cultivating common farmland. Do we have big farms? I remember back in the days, in the 70s and late 70s, we talked about the Operation Feed the Nation. Yeah. We talked of even whether it was just talk, the Green Revolution, MAMSA, all those things, structural adjustment program.
Beautiful slogans and beautiful visions.
It was wonderful. But did this stuff see the light of the day? Obviously not. These are the challenges. And another part is no accountability. I have heard now that the Attorney General of the Federation that was indicted of over whooping billions of money is now Toban, is now a ruler. Is it a way to celebrate, you know, what is wrong? Now, if someone had been indicted, even if he's not, well, he's not been convicted, we are still investigating, such a person should be kept away from what is called that kind of honor. Okay. I think, but society have, you know, whittled down some of these things, that they are fighting him because he's in position. Who is fighting you? For crying out loud, this a country with several millions of people, over 200 million, and then you are talking about you have done something wrong, or you've misruled your people, you've done the wrong stuff, and everybody is against you all of a sudden, calling. And again, I must say, the clerics, the pastors, the imams, the whatever, they join them by way of celebrating, trying to pray. We want to pray against whose enemy? Your own enemy. You are not doing right. Nobody is giving the right advice. I think this is the problem we have. We have a complex problem. Now, if you look at it, I know you're getting back to judiciary. I know everybody say judiciary is the hope of the common man. What are you talking about? Would they do more than what is before them? Law runs on principle. There are principles of law. So it's not your emotion. Somebody could die and you say, well, because he died, the law will not interpret it the other way. It must be within the confines of law. You cannot adjudicate beyond what you are asked to do.
So what you're saying is that a murderer, or as evidential outcome seems to pose, a murderer can be discharged and acquitted based on technicalities.
When you say technicalities, now, yes, if you say so, it's part of the law.
Based on technicalities. Technicalities could be in the process of self-defense.
Absolutely. I don't want to agree with that. Because when you say technically, you know, I don't like the way they use the word technicalities, as if it's some wrong stuff. No, technicality is to strengthen the law. Maybe, okay, let me give an instance. Maybe somebody said something and then was unable to communicate it properly. Then you could decode technically what is the right. It's not to perverse justice. That's not what technicality is all about. I disagree, because that's what the average man thinks, that when you talk about technicalities is to twist it.
A window to maneuver.
That is not correct. That becomes funny. That becomes an affront on the law.
It could be seen from the two sides of the coin.
No.
Technicalities could be positive. It could also be negative.
Negative, not to strengthen wrong in court. If you did something that the jurist didn't know, it's different. If a lawyer, for instance, had aided his client to maneuver and fabricate documents or change facts, and it's tendered before the jurist, and they sat over it, and they are unable to unearth what happened, they didn't pass judgment based on the fact that what they saw was wrong. It was perceived good in the side. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you are saying now, in the instance where you say, well, the technicality, you are a lawyer hired on the other side, and I'm on this side. What stops you from fighting to beat your other opponent to it? It's a contest. You don't sit down and drink tea and expect to win.
We have a scenario where we have, in the court, for instance, one who has been alleged to have stolen, one who has been alleged to be an armed robbery, a member of the armed robbery gang, or the whole totality of the armed robbery gang.
Okay.
Still being given a lawyer or a counsel to adjudicate a case for such gang or for such person that have been alleged. Of the law. That's the position of law.
Because what I'm saying is this.
Because the human rights,
not human right now. Okay. You cannot even convict anybody without a lawyer defending him.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, if somebody commits an offense, like mother bought take a gun and shot people dead.
Exactly.
For instance. And now he gets to court. You think the judge will just say, throw him away? We need to ascertain.
Okay, but
was this guy sane? What led to it? So it's not an issue of what he did. It's the circumstances.
Okay, but the evidential outcome that some see that, well, those who are seen to be alleged as armed robbers, the evidential
alleged
outcome.
Your word.
Alleged. Yes, I said alleged, but I also said evidential outcome. Because there are evidences that will show,
will be proved
yes, of course, that will show that these are armed robbers, and of course, for heaven's sake,
now,
for crying out loud, they committed the act. Is it not possible that under technicalities, such persons could be taken off the hook?
When you say technicalities now, like I earlier established, the jurists, the justices, the judges will not sit back and agree with the lawyer. If something happened, which is wrong, this is against ethics, it's against what is right.
Exactly.
Now, if perhaps, let's assume, because we have found some people doing nonsense and stuff like that, if that happened, I'm saying it will not be in the courts, and the court will see that as wrong. Any judge, you see some justices have also been, probed, and some lawyers have been probed, some have been found wanting. So they are not God, so to speak.
Okay.
Are you getting it? What I'm trying to say now, the idea of, the temple of justice, are they not people? Okay, I'm a lawyer for goodness sake now. I have my life, I had a life before becoming a lawyer. I didn't become a lawyer, I was not born a lawyer. So the idea of, it's the circumstances, the value in society that have shaped me. I chose what I want. Like you mentioned before, look at this, look at that. It's not about what he wants to do. It's about the society.
Okay.
If you have a criminal, sorry, sir. If you have a thief that's found his way to study law, and then he start aiding criminals. He'll start thinking.
And he start winning cases.
It could not, if not the way he says start winning cases. He could win cases, not that the court accepted or joined him. He could destroy evidence.
Okay.
He could destroy evidence that will weaken the case. That's the point I'm making. And if that happened, it will not be that the court is in cahoot with him. Okay, that's exactly the point I'm making.
Exactly. We've had an opportunity to have this for this kind of discussions. Yes. And it's always been, in the court case, you don't prove truth. You prove facts. You bring out facts. Not necessarily.
What is truth?
Not exactly. I should be asking you.
You just say you don't prove truth. It's your word.
It's one thing for you to say truth.
Yes.
But it's another for you to say the facts.
Okay.
So if truth is hanging in suspense,
okay, wait.
It cannot be proven.
Hold on. Let me
in the court.
Wait.
Because the court will only rely on facts to prove your case, if that is truth or not.
Wait. I pulled a gun and I shot someone and the person died, and I'm taken to court. Truth, he shot the guy. Facts, he's insane.
All right.
Can you get it now? So now, truth, I pulled a gun. Facts, he's mentally deranged. He
can be excused.
You get it.
That's why you said principles of the law.
That's it. The law is not looking at your emotion will say he killed that man.
So these technicalities we're talking about runs on the principles of the law.
It runs very well.
Okay, now we are having...
Not to weaken the strength of the law, but to strengthen it.
Now, before I ask you the basic question I really have on my mind, very mind-boggling.
Go ahead.
Let's look at your perception of electoral integrity, the contribution of the judiciary so far in litigation of cases, in adding to the positive number of electoral integrity in Nigeria. What do you say?
Thank you very much. We had the Independent Electoral Act, and we have the INEC and all whatnot. Now, will you blame the former president now, or those that were in offices for what happened in the last election? Now, what happened? They gave money, 350 billion, if I'm not mistaken, to ensure you run. The INEC chairman, a professor, very sound professor, said he's ready. Now, at the end of the day, we saw things going on. This is what we're talking about. That had nothing to do with the man who released money. Even if he released money, there was a Jonathan Goodluck, and he appointed a man, and the man conducted elections and sent him out of the office. So the idea of maybe he's the president, I don't believe that. It's about us. It's about having the will. At least there was a woman that stood up, a professor, and said no. They wanted me to maneuver stuff, and I said no. And she did that. Do you have integrity? What are you living for? You are above 40. What are you looking for? That's the point. That's the question you should be asking yourself.
So, but what's the contribution of this electoral,
what I'm saying, you saw
the judiciary
you cannot
in adding to the numbers of
before you jump to judiciary? Yeah. If we had had a sound election, we had had a very well,
transparent election. We won't be having litigations as this.
That's what we're talking about.
Which means that the polls had issues about less transparency.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Having litigations in court. And this now, eyes are on the apex court.
You cannot be looking at the apex court, because the apex court will not come and vote.
Basically.
They are going to, now listen, one thing you must understand. I remember, it's not Segun Oni of Ekiti State, and what was his name again? The former governor, Fayemi.
Okay.
Fayemi and Segun Oni had this issue of dual citizenship, who could be governor, and then Fayemi was alleged to have had a dual citizenship. Segun Oni was, before he got to Supreme Court, the matter was already statute bar. The principles of law said there's a time range for certain acts, and at the end of the day, he couldn't. The justices of the Supreme Court said, it's statute bar, there's nothing we will say. Even if we are doing anything here now, it will not affect the governor. So will you not blame the judiciary for that? It's the time. The electoral are those that have given a time frame for all of this. Now, if we're looking at, the eyes on the judiciary, before you put your eyes on the judiciary, what did you do in your polling units?
Okay.
How did you strengthen the electoral structure?
Without necessarily looking at any political figure or any big man in the society, what's your perception about certificate forgery allegations being peddled, among personalities of the high class? Because we had we had a case of the Mesoma, the JAM forgery case in that direction, and how the social media even gave an aid, to hear this girl out. The first story that came that gave the impression that, she never forged it, she wasn't an aid to that. Right. Then later on, the confession that followed, the disgrace, the purported punishment that will be meted out. Now, we also see issues of this, among the masses, where if there is anything that has to do with forgery, the judgment comes instantly. And they are never left off the hook. Now, can't we say same in our big men, in our personalities, in our political personalities? As we expect cases like these to come to fruition, even at the apex?
It's the same thing. If you ask me, it's the same thing.
Or is it that there are some laws that could pan out in favor of the big man?
Let me try to understand. You're saying, okay, maybe there is a particular big man who has some forged certificate, and there's some little girl who is trying to get into and forge jam. That if they go to court,
they should be treated equally.
Obviously, that's how they are treated.
It's a situation where a Mesoma was disgraced.
Yes.
Same should also be for the big man.
Yes.
But sometimes based on technicalities.
No.
I know you said something clearly about technicalities, not necessarily being negative.
Hold on.
But sometimes based on technicalities, as we can see appearing just now, such personalities could go off the hook.
Now.
And nothing will fall.
Criminal allegations or criminal matters before court is a lifetime stuff. Now, if you say, he that asserts, you should prove. And in proving, what people should understand, this is not an issue of preponderant balance in the civil litigation. You stole my land, or rather you damaged my car, we are going to court. We are talking of a criminal action in court. It is beyond all reasonable doubt. If you say this is Philip, I can say this is not Philip sitting down here.
But again,
well, I'm trying to say something.
Okay.
It's beyond reasonable doubt, all reasonable doubt. If you are saying somebody has forged certificates, you must prove, and you must link it up. And again, you must consider the circumstances. All scenarios are not the same.
Okay.
That's when you talk about the technicalities.
I have a lot of questions for you, but let's quickly look at this aspect of pursuing a case. Pursuing a case requires money. Is it not correct?
Of course it does.
And the amount of money you have will determine on how useful or how strengthened the case may be. Is it correct?
It's not correct.
Okay, but do you use money to kill evidences?
It could be done, and it has been done before.
Okay.
If you say money, Ibori went to prison. Underneath Ibori, why did money not keep him from going to prison?
It depends on who is in charge of that case on him.
Like I did
If the government is in charge of that case,
governors
he's smaller than the government, of course, don't you know?
What's his name? That Taraba governor was convicted, former governor, and he was in prison. So why did he not use money? Okay.
My fear,
why did he not use money?
My fear is that there's this impression that executive influence could determine how the law pans out.
It is not true. It is just a perception. It's not true. Okay, now for instance, I remember when President Buhari was alleged of issue of certificates and all whatnot, that he didn't go to school or whatever, and then he went to court. What's his name again? Abakari was in court for him, and then why did he honor it? Did you see his containers? Did you see anybody smiling in court? And you said they are not bothered? For goodness sake, it's not an issue of, is you proving your case? Now, a man that is fighting that is fighting for survival, we put in more effort than the one that is trying to kill him.
Oh, yes, of course.
You get it? Now, I'm trying to save my head.
Because he holds anything that will
you get it.
survive him from being immersed by the water.
We hear some of these things. When you want to really prosecute a matter, it's not the media.
Just like a drowning man pulls anything
Are
to
you
come out of
getting it?
water.
When you just start telling the people in the media, social media work, they start posting everything, and you are even helping the opponent, the person you are alleging, his work is picking from you what you drop on the social media. That's not how to win a case. I can bet you will not get anything from it. Check out how to win real cases. You should keep those things away. Because you have given so much evidence, everybody in the social space, they now understand what is going on. And then it also helps the person you so claim you are alleging to go and do some homework, asking questions.
All right,
what will be done.
In case you're just joining us, I've been having a very, very healthy discussion with a legal practitioner in the person of Patrick Awo-Sage. We've been on the ride of the electoral integrity and legacy role of the judiciary, and of course it's pertinent to note that as a legal practitioner, a custodian of the law, you're doing justice to this. A lot has been said in this direction of how we can have transparency, how that issue of the judiciary being the last hope of the common man can be vividly seen
from the same society.
Yes, can be vividly seen by the masses.
When you say there's nothing like mass, I don't like that word, please.
All right, okay. By the downtrodden.
Don't use the word. I'm not talking of down. There's no downtrodden.
We have the political class, the elite. We have the bourgeois. We have the masses.
Bourgeois and masses. It's all about what you have made up your life to become.
Okay, but the impression I'm trying to get here, I'm trying to raise here,
that these commoners, so to speak, they will
the
not
masses,
have
the huge population believes that the judiciary should reaffirm its independence, in the current cases we are having just now, between the president and the Labour Party's presidential candidate and that of the PDP. What's your nudge or what's your advice in having transparent adjudication of cases that can go a long way to convince the viewing audience that, yes, the proceedings are fair?
When you talk about media have done their work. Yes, you call me social media influencer. I see things, I read, I laugh. I could post and I just laugh. There are certain things that are not done properly. Now, you are talking of the downtrodden, the masses, the poor in our society. Now, come on, your being poor is not it's not a country, it's your mind. We have known that already. It's not even the church you attend to. It's not the prayer you have prayed.
I meant the higher population of Nigerians.
Whether higher or lower.
I'm telling you now
that I'm telling you tentatively.
Not necessarily poor.
When you say the larger percentage, now, are you doing what is right? The majority of us are doing the wrong thing. That's why things are going this way.
The majority of us are doing
when
the
I
wrong
mean
thing.
Majority of us,
of
Nigerians. I'm a Nigerian. When you're talking of the masses, we are all the masses.
But
hold on, the one that contests election.
I can tell you that if we are to open the call lines, I can tell you a lot of questions will come in that direction.
Let them come in.
If you are saying that majority of us, of Nigerians, do the wrong thing.
Do the wrong, when I say majority.
At whose behest?
Hold on.
Don't we have leaders?
How would the leader now control you rigging election?
Can there be leaders? Can there be leaders by example?
2000 during election day where you don't know what that meant?
But who gave it?
Somebody gave it. I agree. Somebody gave it. Why will you be tempted?
So it seems,
there must be a tempter.
No. It seems the leaders,
yes,
seem not to be doing what they should do. Because
I agree. The leaders are from the people. That's what I'm trying to say.
If there's a leadership by example, there'll be a good followership. Don't you think so?
See, let's understand ourselves. I'm not supporting the leaders. I have told you before that those that are leading, you could be in an office. That doesn't make you a leader. He just found himself. I know some Mawad rider was picked and he won federal representative. He didn't plan for it. And he's there. to represent his constituency.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say, anybody could be picked by some fate or stuff like that. It could just happen.
Okay, are you proud of the leadership under President Bola Tinubu and all that it came with?
When you say all that it came with, if you ask me, none of them qualify to be my president. If I have my choice, I won't vote Peter Obi, I won't vote Atiku Abubakar, I won't vote Bola Tinubu.
Will you vote me?
I won't vote you either. Don't leave the person I will vote.
So what could be that?
What I'm trying to say is that we need to move away from this old narrative. Look at other nations and look at what's going on out there in the world.
So it seems you're not impressed by even the candidates so far that have been
None of
tossed to
them.
Nigerians.
It's not just to talk. I need to see your antecedents. I need to see what you've done. There are people in the private sector that we don't even know. They are not interested. Because they feel Nigerians are just talking back and forth. Go there. They have a lot of people that can do stuff here. But
Okay.
they won't give them the hand. Hold on. What I'm saying, what I'm trying to make you understand, it's not about the person of Tinubu, that they are fighting Tinubu. Tinubu was governor for how many years ago? He doesn't have this, he doesn't have that. Why? What have happened over time? What have we done? What have the state done? During Jonathan Goodluck's time, President Tinubu now was taken to court. And he went. And he answered this, he was there and he was tried and he came out. What I'm saying is, we shouldn't be fighting. We are in the habit of looking for somebody to fight. And somebody, when you are there, that's, what do you call them now? Is it spider? Each time they are going, they keep climbing on themselves, bringing themselves down. We are spending too much time talking back and forth. We are looking at the nation sinking down.
You're talking about the crab story.
Yes.
You put crabs in the basket, all they know how to do is to pull him down.
To pull themselves
They
down.
never come out, but when they see one crab trying to come out, the rest of them pull strength to take that one down.
I can bet you.
I think that's the kind of story we have in the Nigerian context.
I can bet you now, if you look at this country now, the President Tinubu, let him come to Benin now. The same people shouting, we need him out, they will still go and line up. And see, you see, I'm not for anybody. I don't have any candidate. I'm not a Peter Obi's fan. I'm not Tinubu's fan. I'm not Atiku's fan.
But the office can't be vacant.
I'm not saying that whoever is in the office, that's not my business. My concern is that I do what I'm supposed to do. Nigerians should learn to look inward. Nigerians should learn to do what is right. Let your yea be your yea and your nay be your nay. Don't go and collect money. You expect a good life.
Okay, we're still on this role of the judiciary.
Don't be doing all of these things. You're not helping your life.
We're still on this role of the judiciary, but I don't want to be tempted to digress. Otherwise, I could be asking you big questions. When we started, I told you that you look good.
Thank you, I do.
So we could be going we could be going to the point where the policies of this government, how it affects you. But before that, let's look at the judiciary. Do you see the judiciary as truly independent?
No, I don't.
Reasons being that?
Very obvious reasons. Who pays them?
Exactly. Is that not why we were talking about executive influence? I think I caught you there.
Who pays them?
Who pays the piper?
Now,
They takes it.
I've not seen many of them resigning. A couple could do. The system is not well factored in ways it should go. And if that is the case, what do you expect? Okay, somebody once, I read that somebody was trying to stop the proceedings, and what the lawyer got was a 20 million slam. Who pays them? You are not paying them, and you expect things to happen the other way.
Okay.
You are the one paying them. You are the one that dictates who is removed and who. We saw what happened to the former CJN and all of those stuff. How they humiliated and embarrassed him.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say here is this. If you know the system, we need to have a proper structure that will spell out everybody's role.
I must say big thanks for taking our time to be part of this. I really would have loved to ask you further questions. I have a very strong appetite to do so. And I know that you have the dexterity to match whatever I ask you as questions. Well, Nigerians must be proud of you for what you've done today. And big thanks for taking our time to be part of this.
It's a pleasure.
And we can only say we wish you the best of the day as the day still continue to grow.
So
well, there's much you can take on the discussion.